Hi, my name is Jonas. 23 years ago, I had a problem. I wanted to conquer the dance floors and the airwaves around the world with my music, but I had no equipment and barely any money. After a long hot summer filled with deep fryers and dishwashing, I finally scraped together enough money to go and buy some gear. It was 1998. What would I get? Well, of course I got a Macintosh G3. I found a TR-909 and a TB-303 in an old attic, and on a yard sale I found a Juno 106 in perfect condition. And then my Japanese uncle visited and he got me a Yamaha O2R and a Akai S3000. I even had enough money left to go and visit the Love Parade. Well, I actually bought a Roland MC-303. To be fair, I actually used the MC-303 quite a lot, up until the point that I started to get my first releases. It was a convenient source of 808 and 909 drum sounds. Let's see if I can still fire it up and get something useful out of it. Well, at least it works, but not really. As you can see, the effects knob is completely loose in its socket, something broken there, not good. And also the parts buttons, especially the bass drum button here, something is broken inside apparently, and the same issue is going on with the hi-hats. Let's open up this thing and see what is going on and if we can fix it. Now, while I'm going through a million screws, a little history lesson. Back in the 90s, Roland was seeing the massive success of their 80s drum computers, the 808 and the 909, and their bassline synthesizer, the TB-303. These machines had spawned completely new genres out of nowhere, so Roland of course wanted to cash in on that. In '96 they decided to put a bunch of dance samples in a small silver box, call it the Groovebox, and let them fly off the shelves. They were selling really well, so at least the marketing worked. If you look at those sales figures, you would think there would be loads of 90s hits created using this machine, but actually I can't find much evidence for that. Probably because in '96 it was already sounding quite dated and it wasn't very user-friendly at all. It did, however, create a long line of Grooveboxes, of which the MC-707 is the latest one. This is a very powerful and versatile machine. Now let's get this final bolt and then we can see what the actual damage is inside. Let's take a look at this knob first. I can take it out just like that, nothing is holding it in place anymore. Some of the brackets that should be holding it got loose because of all the abuse I was giving it during all the years. If you have seen me go at it, it's completely understandable. This is quite good news actually, because it means I can loosen the brackets a little bit more, put the knob back in, and then try to tighten everything properly again. That should fix this knob completely actually. It takes quite a bit of fiddling, but it surely beats having to order a new potentiometer, take this one out and solder a new one in. My soldering skills are really terrible, so I'm happy I don't have to try to do that. Fiddling with brackets, that's something I can do however. Let's test this. Yeah, that all seems nice and tight. This knob is back in business. Now the parts buttons. As you can see, two of them have broken off completely. Yeah, that's not okay. At first I wasn't sure what to do. I could try to order new parts, but that would take a long time and I wasn't even sure if I would find something. But a soldering iron and some messing about made me actually melt it back together. As you can see, it holds pretty well. So let's put everything back together and see if it holds up. So with the magic of editing, we're now back where we started. The effects button, yeah, that's still perfectly good. Now these parts buttons, they don't feel exactly the same, but they certainly seem to work fine. Now the final test, does it actually still power on? Fingers crossed, and here we go. Oh yes, time to groove. So I created some patterns and it's time to let this silver time machine take us straight back to the 90s. Some shellax house first. That wasn't too bad, right? We need more groove though. Let's hit it. My inner raver has awakened now. There's no turning back. It's jungle time. Let's complete this 90s dance extravaganza with some cheesy club sounds. You know you want it. So can we still get something useful out of the MC-303 in 2020? Well, it's great at transporting you back to the 90s, and if I remember correctly, the 90s were a great time. I think I'm gonna keep this Groovebox another 23 years. Want more? Like, subscribe, yada yada. See you next time.